Good morning and welcome again to the Hydrogen Fuel Cells and Batteries group exhibit here at the Hanover Fair 2017. Please, I welcome everyone to please come in, sit down, have a beverage. There is table service, so please enjoy the next conversation. My name is Michael Sinclair, and I will be your moderator. I'd like to remind you that audience questions are welcome at any time, so please raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone to your table. Here to talk about advanced developments in the build-up of a hydrogen infrastructure, the Managing Director of Air Liquide's Advanced Technologies Division. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Antoine Moses to the stage.
Thank you.
Hello.
So Antoine, thank you very much for joining us. Air Liquide is known for being a supplier of gases for medical and industrial applications. So could you please explain what Air Liquide is doing to develop the hydrogen economy?
Thank you, Michael, for this introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being there. We are happy, like every year, to give a short update about the activities of Air Liquide in the field of hydrogen and fuel cells. So why is Air Liquide interested in developing the hydrogen economy? That's quite simple. We are, since now several decades, a strong player, of course, in the world of industrial hydrogen, which is a large market for us, more than 2 billion euro sales worldwide today. And if those markets linked with fuel cells and hydrogen energy develop, this is basically doubling the market of industrial gases. So of course there is a very strong interest and a very strong perspective for us for this market development. We are active in the field of hydrogen and energy since now more than 15 years. We made a lot of technology developments. We are very active in the development of the hydrogen infrastructure, rollout of the stations. We are collaborating very close with the car OEMs for, of course, coordinating the deployment of hydrogen stations and fuel cell cars. And beyond that, we are advocating, of course, for a hydrogen economy, which means using hydrogen in a very wide number of different steps in the overall energy world. So, more specifically for us, the focus today is really on the infrastructure for the mobility, because this is the mass market, which will hopefully come in the coming years. And for this, you need to have relatively long preparation work in order to prepare the rollout of the station, to build the infrastructure, and, as I said before, to coordinate those efforts with the automotive industry. So what are we doing from a concrete point of view? If we go in the diverse geographical zones where we are active, and if we start in the United States, so in the United States we are active in California, which is, for the time being, one of the places to be for hydrogen developments. In California, we have an investment program for refueling stations. We started a station in Anaheim at the end of 2016, and within only 3 months, we have completed more than 1,000 fueling operations. So this station is very active, with a quite fast ramp-up, working very well, and there is a strong demand there, a very strong demand. High momentum in California. We are building another station in the area of Los Angeles that will be go live in the coming months. And we have further an investment program in California. On the other side, on the East Coast, we have a partnership with Toyota, which has been communicated already 2 years ago. We are now building those stations. We have an investment program for 12 stations, which are under construction, in order to introduce the fuel cell electric vehicles on the East Coast of the United States. Of course, there is no mystery there. The United States are one of the most active countries in the world, especially the California, in order to introduce the fuel cell electric vehicles. If we now go to Europe, So in Europe, we are active in several countries. We have already stations in operation in Denmark, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, in Germany, of course, in France as well. And we have selected investment programs in order to support the rollout of the first vehicles. Maybe a focus in Germany, because we are here in the Hannover Messe. So in Germany, we are completing these days our investment program within the Clean Energy Partnership. So for us, building 10 stations, which are almost every month going live and starting their operations. On top of that, we have an investment in our joint venture H2 Mobility, together with 5 other partners. And this joint venture is the vehicle we chose for investing, building, operating the hydrogen infrastructure, specifically in Germany. So this is a joint effort of several partners that have created this joint venture. H2 Mobility started its operations or was created in 2015, started its first stations in 2016, and we have a massive investment program for the next years in Germany for building the hydrogen infrastructure in coordination, again, with the car OEMs, because we have several partners which are from the automotive industry associated to this initiative, H2 Mobility. Figures for this project: we build within H2 Mobility 100 refueling stations in Germany until 2018, 2019. So this is a significant effort from the infrastructure industry to bring the stations independently on the number of cars which are on the road. And this is very important because we have been working since several years now with the automotive industry for coordinating the efforts of building the infrastructure and organizing the rollout of the cars. And the commitment of the infrastructure industry is to have those 100 stations ready 2018, 2019, independently on the number of fuel cell electric vehicles which will be deployed in Germany. And of course, we expect from our automotive partners that they bring the cars quite quickly accordingly. This is no mystery that Daimler, for instance, which is one of our very important partners in this venture, will present its new fuel cell model during the Frankfurt Automobile Show in September 2017. And we expect this new vehicle to be available for the customers early in 2018. This was for Europe. Picture about Asia. We are also quite active in Asia. In Japan, for instance, we have in the last weeks started 2 stations. One of them is in Kobe, and the second one is in Fukuoka. And those are our 4th and 5th stations in this country. You may know that in Japan there are today more than 80 stations already built, and there is also a very strong dynamic in this country for pushing for hydrogen technologies and hydrogen vehicles. The government announced a couple of days ago that hydrogen is completely part of their political vision, and they want to develop a full hydrogen energy system in that country. And in Japan as well, we are pushing for a collaboration mechanism, for coordinated efforts, for joint investment programs in order to have as many partners as possible from the industry involved in the development of the infrastructure in order to accelerate the ramp-up of the infrastructure and to accelerate the rollout of the vehicles. And in Japan, this is also no mystery that companies like Toyota, Nissan, Honda are also very active for developing this market and bringing their own vehicles. Last but not least, in Korea, where we started also engineering activities, and we opened already 1 station a couple of months ago. We are also very active in Korea, especially through a partnership with Hyundai, which is, of course, politically a very important technology and industry leader in Korea. And there is also in Korea a strong willingness from the government to accelerate in the direction of a hydrogen economy. So here again, nice perspectives for the hydrogen. So as a summary, United States, in Europe, several countries, mostly Western and Northern Europe, in Japan, in Korea, and we have also a couple of projects in China, which is also, I would say, a country which is taking off more and more with hydrogen perspectives.
Wonderful. There's a lot of activities that you're engaged in. It sounds like most of them are for consumer vehicles as opposed to fleet vehicles. Why have you targeted that market in particular?
So we are active on both markets. We believe that, of course, the long-term perspective, this is a mass market for private customers. But in the short term, what is very important is to increase the utilization rate of the stations. Because building an infrastructure is, of course, a significant investment. And for paying those investments, the more cars you have at the beginning, the better the perspective is for the project. And this is what we are working more and more on with different partners. I will give you one example. We have, since now a couple of months, a very interesting project in Paris, which is the first hydrogen taxi project in the world through a company which is called STEP. So the name of the project is HYPE. And the company operating the taxi is STEP. And this company operates now 12 hydrogen taxis. And our ambition is to have, until the end of this year, several dozens of hydrogen taxis in Paris. The feedback so far is very positive. The feedback from the taxi drivers is very positive. They consider that they are able to offer a better service compared to traditional taxis for the same cost. Electrical vehicles are very appreciated from the customers. There is a very strong demand. We would like to be able to offer more capacity, so that's why we want to increase the size of the fleet. And our partner target until 2020 to have about 600 hydrogen taxis in Paris. So here again, strong perspective in terms of making the final customers aware of this technology solution and advocating for the hydrogen economy.
So I guess in general terms, I mean, you mentioned a lot of projects that you have on the go. In general terms, how would you describe the rate of growth of the hydrogen infrastructure worldwide?
So for the time being, I would say it is satisfactorily. But of course, we are working with our partners to accelerate this development. And we are working also very closely with the governments, the funding agencies, the European Commission, different institutional bodies who help us to accelerate the construction of the infrastructure. The investment needs are significant, not being, I would say, or while staying quite sustainable. If we take the example of Germany as a country, building an infrastructure with 1,000 stations in Germany, it means an investment between 1 and 2 billion euros, which is, of course, for a country like Germany, something which is absolutely affordable. So there is a joint effort from the industry, from the government, and we are engaged in a number of public-private partnerships in order to have this political vision, have a good political support with the related, I would say, regulatory measures which are needed for accelerating the rollout of the vehicles and of the infrastructure. And in the same time, showing that the private investors are also fully engaged in this development. Maybe we can finish on that. So there will be this afternoon a presentation of the Hydrogen Council, which is an institutional body which was created by the industry at the beginning of 2017. Some industry leaders decided to join forces to increase the advocacy efforts towards the governments, towards the global institutions, to promote hydrogen economy and to promote hydrogen technologies, and to highlight that hydrogen is really one of the key elements for the energy transition worldwide. So there will be a specific podium discussion this afternoon at 3 p.m. And you are, of course, very welcome to join for this presentation as well.
And that'll be right here in the public forum.
Yes, absolutely. And this discussion will take place with the colleagues of BMW and of Toyota.
Excellent. A lot of great information. Audience, is there any questions that you'd like to ask Mr. Mazas or Dr. Mazas? Okay, well, maybe I'll ask a final question then. What would you say? No, I'll ask this question. Many people haven't yet experienced hydrogen transportation. In fact, most people. What do you think?
I hope you did.
What's that? I
hope you
have
did.
not yet, and I.
So ride and drive opportunity just over there.
Yeah.
This is a must for you.
So how do you think? How do you think the majority of the mass market will first experience hydrogen transportation or hydrogen technology?
So from this perspective, the feedback of any person driving for the first time a fuel cell car or being for the first time in a fuel cell car is extremely positive. So myself, I've been accompanying dozens and dozens of people driving for the first time a fuel cell car, and the feedback is always extremely positive. So I have no doubt that from a customer perspective, this will be a success. I have absolutely no doubt. And again, if you did not have the opportunity so far to drive a fuel cell car, there is the opportunity to do it just over there, ride and drive organized by industry partners which are exhibiting there, and you have to do that. You have to do that. This is a must for your week or for your days here in Hanover.
So is there would you say that there's any customer awareness issues with the technology right now?
No, I think like for any automotive technology, when you are in a disruptive scheme, it takes time to have people aware, to bring the technology at the right cost level. If you think about diesel, for instance, 25 years, 30 years have been needed in order to have a really significant part of the automotive fleet equipped with diesel motors. So my grandparents, they never bought a car with a diesel engine. My parents did, and probably they did not do anything else as buying a diesel car. And I think our generation will start with electric cars, and I hope my children will not buy any other car as an electric car. As simple as that. But for this, you need a bit of time, and we need to make the efforts we are making now in order to make it happen tomorrow. This is the most important point.
Wonderful. So for more information, I'd welcome you to visit the Air Liquide booth. It's in the direction of the technical forum behind us. The booth number is B50. Please join me in thanking Dr. Antoine Moses for joining us in this conversation today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's great. Up next in the public forum, I have the pleasure to announce there'll be an engaging panel discussion titled Green Hydrogen, the Foundation for Sector Coupling, and includes electricity, mobility, and heat. So please stick around. I'm sure it'll be a great conversation.